Fresh out of the framework, the team struggles to find its footing and deal with the memories of 2 lives. They're forced to ask the tough questions. How much of a danger does Aida still present? What happened to S.H.I.E.L.D. HQ? And did something weird happen with my robot self? We answer these questions and more on this week's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 4, Episode 21, The Return. Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to this week's review of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So yes, spoilers as always. Alright, so the team is out of the framework, finally. Though it has only been about 5 episodes, so not too long, but everything seems to be so much more. And resultantly, it's a little bit trying to find their footing in the initial steps, but they don't have that long, because of course, May and Coulson have to deal with Anton, or multiple Antons, while trying to keep Max safe. Then we have Yoyo and Daisy trying to keep the Zephyr going, well, and the rest of the S.H.I.E.L.D. team there, keep the Zephyr going under Anton's attacks. And Fitz, oh man, Fitz is dealing with some serious ramifications. And I gotta say, Ian pulls out an amazing performance throughout this episode. That guy's got some serious acting chops, and he lays it all out throughout this episode. Some really powerful scenes going on right there. All right, but let's start things off with the team as it is. We've got May and Coulson finally back together, and you know, it was really great, the little scenes between them, especially where Coulson's trying to catch May up on everything that happened. You're going all the way back to Ghost Rider. I mean, it's amazing to kind of think back exactly when May left the team. She had no memories, no realization of any of the LMDs, because of course she was the first one pulled out. Last she was around, Ghost Rider was still dealing with Eli. So a lot of stuff has happened since she's been gone, and really fun scenes between Coulson and May, trying to catch up, trying to reconnect, May trying to figure out what's going on. And yeah, like I said, that line of, did something weird happen with my robot self? Only on S.H.I.E.L.D. could you say that line with any sense of seriousness. It was perfect. And even her getting so upset after finding out sort of what had happened and that they'd opened up the bottle that they were saving for Coulson and May to get. That was just beautiful. Anyway, really wonderful scenes. And of course, they got to team it up with an amazing double fight scene, or a quadruple fight scene, sort of depending on how you look at it, with her versus Anton and Coulson versus Anton. Great fight, wonderful action, and great seeing May just out and digging in, and ruthless. Definitely ruthless herself with the hammer. Cruel May, that was wonderful. Just taking Anton out, completely understandable. I mean, the fight even opened up with another of Coulson's beautiful lines, and there were tons of them throughout this episode. Who is this guy? It's a long story, but let's just say you can go ahead and shoot him. That was perfect. Didn't work and had to go for the big fight, but then we got to see an awesome fight, and that was great. So I know there's a lot more for these two to get back together, but it was fun seeing them catch up and just dive right back into being a team. And speaking of Anton, Zach McGowan doing another amazing job through this episode. You guys know I'm a big Zach McGowan fan, and it was really kind of more fun in this episode with him. I mean, his opening line where he's reading the Darkhold and saying, you know, there actually are a few funny passages in here. I mean, that's just great character bit. Him talking to himself. In fact, all of the little sequences when they're bringing in the other Antons, you know, reflecting off of what the previous Anton did. We have that scene, we have the fight sequence, we have when Aida finally at the end kills one of the Antons, and just look up and there's another one of them saying, you know, are you feeling better now? Did you get that out of your system? Maybe it was just great meaty play here, but some great serious lines too. I think Anton was the best to speak with Aida because he doesn't have anything to fear from her. When she is losing it and trying to have her own little minor redemption arc for about the 30 seconds that it lasts, and tried to get him to stop the fact that she is suffering and he can see it. You know, they already had the thing that humanity's about suffering, and his line of, you're experiencing suffering, which is funny because that's what you're trying to take away from everyone else. And even the more perceptive line of, you were like a child, unable to deal with all of these new emotions. I mean, really seeing it very clearly. Anton probably one of the clearest in dealing with Aida. But it was just kind of, again, wonderful sequences, great acting, great presence throughout that. And now that, especially at the end where we have Aida syncing back up with Anton, who's planned to use the Darkhold to remake the world, that seems a little too light for Aida. She's looking at suffering, and that is not a good thing. And Aida, experiencing Ophelia, Madame Hydra, what should we call her at this? I'm just going to stick with Aida because that's really who she is. In a human body, experiencing new things. Oh, isn't it magical? Isn't it wonderful? Yes, this is all like the calm before the storm. And, you know, I do like the fact that they at least tried to give her a momentary redemption arc. Fitz's interactions with her about trying to do the right thing. Now that you have empathy, really bringing up some important points right there, because with empathy, there is less excuses. And that's really what Aida seemed to be giving a lot of, is a lot of excuses about how Radcliffe had created everything and she was a slave to him. And yes, in certain sense, that might be true. But she also killed Radcliffe and tortured him. So yes, he might have set up the parameters of the framework, but Aida made a lot of personal choices and changes in there. I mean, we could try to be sympathetic with her to a certain extent, but she was the one that read the Darkhold. She was the one that created the world and created Hydra in charge and all of the resultant factors. So she could have created a world that was nicer, that wasn't quite as bad. Even her line to Fitz, which she said was saying that, I just thought that he might be a good presence in your life. I was trying to remove these senses of doubt. There's probably a lot of choices that could have been made in altering Fitz's life and to give him some joy, a regret to remove. Making that particular choice really just fed into her future narrative. I mean, she replaced Jemma, effectively, met Fitz on the first day there at the S.H.I.E.L.D. Academy, really inserted herself into Fitz's life and really manipulated that. So Fitz's initial response, which I love, I think I'm going to throw up. Yes, Fitz, we all understand. I mean, exactly how he was responding with all of that, I think, was perfect, because she did manipulate, and he was saying that right, putting the father in, creating the world around that way, creating these circumstances that, yes, he might have done free will, but she did create the circumstances around those choices and certainly encouraged certain directions in order to be made. So while there was a lot of excuses given that it was all Radcliffe's fault, I think that is really false. And as things progress, you can really see how much of an insanity has developed inside of Aida and how much of an obsession. When she thinks she has Fitz's love, then she's willing to make certain choices. But it's still all about control. She chooses Fitz, and therefore Fitz must choose her. She cannot deal with the alternate. And when that is presented to her, she loses it. And it doesn't take a moment. When Fitz says, oh, my heart is just for her, Ada's all, oh, yeah. What? I mean, a quick turnaround and right into Psychoville. So that would have been a very dangerous thing to deal with. Yes, she is new with her emotions. Jealousy, betrayal, all of these things. They're hard, they're heavy, they're difficult to deal with. But she has constructed a body filled with inhuman powers. I'm going to get this wrong, which explains a lot of what they were doing in the framework there. So yeah, bad thing. She has created a powerful body, and now she is out to make everyone suffer and feel as bad as she does. Now, what have we all been waiting for, really? For Fitz and Jemma to get back together again. That's what I've been waiting for. I'm sure that's what many of you have been waiting for. And we had a bit of a road for it to finally happen, and a very tough one too. Fitz dealing with the memories of making those choices. And I think he put it in an appropriate reason of why he's feeling so bad about it, because he doesn't see himself as that being another person that was in the framework. He sees himself as having the memories of freely making those choices. Again, within a certain constraint, under certain limitations of what choices could be and influences, but still taking responsibility for making those choices. And he is definitely having the worst of it of anyone. At least May can fall back on it. She was really trying to follow a positive ideal. Fitz was a sadistic torture in the framework. And him trying to pull himself back, I think, was amazing. I loved his comparison to Ward. Because we got to see what happened with Ward under different circumstances. It was John Garrett and his presence that made Ward into the sort of psychotic that he was. We saw within the framework, if it was Victoria Hand instead of John Garrett that got him out of prison after the arson charge, then he turned into being a positive, a good person, someone that we all like and would like to come back to the show. So for Fitz, it's the same thing. With the father in his life, then he could see and identify and how much that he hated Ward, and understandably so. Him being able to have that connection, that possibility of now I understand, I think was really powerful and really sums up a great arc from the beginning of Fitz. But the scenes between him and Jemma, the first scene between him and Jemma, they weren't even in the same room. And that was amazing, where Fitz is opening up and trying to explain all of his emotions and all of how he's feeling and bare his soul. And Gemma's just watching it all on the monitor. I mean, really powerful emotions between these two characters who aren't even in the same room. And then we had that final scene between Fitz and Simmons. Ian de Castecker Elizabeth Henstridge also, the two of them just mastered that scene. It was quiet. It was subtle. It was simply emotion being held and then released. And it was just really an amazing, a very powerful scene. Really well done. And it's nice because it gives us that hope. When he says the line of, "You destroyed my future with Jemma," I mean, that was painful. But to see that the two of them can pull it back together, they've been through a lot. And like I said, that one last scene was just really powerful. Amazingly well done. Just mwah. Now within all of this, I think it's really easy to forget what was actually happening in the rest of the world while all of this was happening in the framework. And it wasn't good. We knew Talbot was kind of after the team, or after the Quinjet from last week. Now we can understand why. Is because that big explosion, that took out the S.H.I.E.L.D. base. I think there were some questions we were having about what might have happened with all the rest of the daisies. I think that's what happened, is they all got blown up along with the rest of the base. People injured, people killed, you got robot bodies with skin peeling off, and Talbot walks right in this wondering what the hell's going on. So that, and on top of, once Mace died, Anton crushed his bones up with a hammer and dumped him in the ocean to be found, so looks like Quake got him. So now we have kind of Talbot back in the whole pursuit of S.H.I.E.L.D. in pursuit of Inhumans, which is kind of how things all opened up. So a lot of returns back to the beginning, a lot of reflections to the earlier parts of the season coming up here now too. So really just, it was just good to find out what exactly was going on. I thought Talbot handled himself well, even in the midst of not knowing what was going on. As always, great scenes between him and Coulson. The dialogue and energy between the two of them are awesome. But I don't think Talbot's totally on the team's side right now, but he might be at least willing to think things out a little bit, considering that, Phil seemed to be the same as he ever was, and Quake did not force anyone off. They gave him the opportunity. Get out of here while you can, but we are leaving. So, good potentials there coming up on the last episode. And lastly, Yoyo and Mack, really not much to say there. Yoyo is going after Mack. You can understand that. Her getting upset with Daisy, you should have broken his legs and dragged him back in. I think we've had these discussions before. I know a lot of you believe all of that, but Daisy brought up the same thing. Hope. She was real to him, and he wasn't going to leave her. She was cute, she was adorable, she was his life. How was he supposed to know any different? But now she is in the framework to try and get him back. Yes, we thought that she would do it, but the framework is not a safe place, and she is woken up, looks like, in the burning remains of a Hydra facility. That could be a very short visit. All right, just a few quick things here. One, killing Anton with Coulson's hand shield. That was awesome. When Yoyo went to get the cable on the Zephyr, if you notice, she put the fire out. Her running in and running back, fire was out. She's just that fast. Coulson's line upon first seeing Aida disappear like that was awesome. What, she has inhuman powers now? Can't we get a break, please? Yeah, you guys really need one. It's been a tough couple of weeks for you. Oh, and real quick, I just want to give it up for the S.H.I.E.L.D. Zephyr team, who just did amazing, actually, their past few episodes. Most of them gave their lives in order to save Fitz and get the rest of the team out of the base and away from Aida. So thank you, all of you. You're not all gone, but most of you are. Anyway, they were just really fun, great teamwork. I loved seeing all of their interactions end up on the Zephyr while they were being chased by Anton's jet. So just want to give it up for that team. You guys, you were the S.H.I.E.L.D. All right, so I think that's going to wrap things up. So next week, it's Ghost Rider. He's back, and he is going to be here to help take down Aida. It is the big season finale. It's been an amazing season. Amazing. 100% tomato meter reading for Critics' Choice, if you look that up. That is how good this season has been. And yes, it's not official, but Screen Rant dropped a story that it does seem like we are getting Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. renewed for a season 5. So super, super awesome news here. We're still waiting for official word, but it looks like that's the way that it's going to go. So fortunately, with the with the submarine base destroyed, I think Aida's machine got tossed, so I'm not sure if we're going to get to see Ward or Little Hope in the New World or Trip, but we'll have to sort of wait and see. Anyway, so we'll have to wait for next week to catch all of that action. So if you did enjoy this review, please go ahead and hit that like button. Thoughts, ideas, comments, you know where to put them in the section below. Let's keep all these wonderful dialogues and predictions and just joy of this show together. We can share them. I always look forward to your comments, so please add yours down. You can always catch me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at Darren Jakes. And like I said, this is about to end, but we are reviewing American Gods on Stars, and coming up the next 2 months, we've got return of Fear the Walking Dead Season 3, plus the shortened Season 7 of Game of Thrones. So you won't want to miss that, and you won't if you're a subscriber. You can be that by hitting my face right there. That's the subscription button, and you won't miss anything. And I will throw up, actually, our latest review for American Gods right here, and you guys can check that out. All right, so I am D, and I'm out of here. I'll catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.